and welcome to Bloomberg Queen. This is Ask BQ. I am Agam Vakil and with me is Alex Matthew. Hi, Alex.
Hey, Agam. Well, we were all watching the Prime Minister's address to the nation just a short while back, and which is why we're a little late on this program. In case you missed it, what he announced is that India has proven its anti-satellite capability. A short while back, it managed to bring down one of its own low-orbit satellites with a missile that was launched. He spoke about the benefits of that, joining a very small list of nations. India is only the fourth nation, according to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, that is capable of bringing down a satellite from outer space. All right, but with that, it's time to go to Ask BQ. I'm sure a lot of you who've joined in have a lot of questions. We're skipping straight to the introduction of the two guests that we have with us. We've got Vikas Sethi of Sethi Finmart and Samit Chawan of Angel Broking, who will be joining us very shortly. Agam, do we have a question immediately for Vikas, I believe?
Well, absolutely. We do have one, and it's actually on Reliance Industries and Bajaj Holding, two very interesting stocks. Well, Akash wants a view on the fundamental view on holding both these, and while we have seen substantial strength in Reliance Industries of late, Bajaj Holding, of course, is the holding company for several of these, Sanjeev Bajaj stocks. So, Vikas, let me take this question up with you. How are you placed on both Reliance Industries as well as Bajaj Holdings?
Yeah, Agam, both the stocks are good quality companies, and I'm actually pretty bullish on Reliance Industries. The company has been declaring pretty strong numbers quarter on quarter since last so many quarters. And with the kind of traction being witnessed in their telecom business, in their retail business, and the core oil and gas business, I think this stock is going to go places in the longer term. So I'm bullish on Reliance Industries and would recommend a hold on the stock. I have a target of around 1600 in a year's time, and I'm much more bullish if one has a view for 3 to 5 years. And as far as Bajaj Holding is concerned, this is also a great company, the holding company of the Bajaj Group. I would recommend a hold on this stock as well.
Okay, let's quickly, since both of these counters have been particularly active in the recent past, let's also take a quick technical check of Reliance Industries and Bajaj Finance. I believe we've been joined now by Samit. Samit, thanks so much for joining us. We just got done with a quick fundamental check of these two counters. What are the charts indicating with regard to a possible entry level for the two counters?
See, as far as Reliance Industries is concerned, no brainer, it is in a strong bull run. It has been enjoying this strong bull run which started, a year, 1.5 years back. If we look at the overall monthly chart, it still looks quite encouraging, and from here on, you won't be surprised to see the stock, heading towards 1450, 1500 over the next few weeks. So any minor dip probably toward 1340 would make it a good risk to reward ratio. But this is a kind of counter which you should start accumulating right from current level. In case of any dip, you can keep adding it. And on the higher side, as I said, immediately 1450, 1480, these are the next levels to watch out for. 1300, 1320 seems to be an immediate support level. Which is the other stock you talked about?
Talking about Bajaj Finance.
See, Bajaj Finance, yes, we have been upbeat, and as a disclosure, we have recommended this to our clients as well.
Sorry, apologies. Sorry about that. Samit, we're talking about Bajaj Holdings.
Okay. See, if we look at the overall volume activity, it is generally on the low side as compared to its other peer counters. But the overall structure still remains bullish. Stock is known for its slow and steady moves. It has been maintaining its sturdy structure. I would expect consolidation first before this stock surpassing its recent hurdle of 3400. So on the higher side, 3400 is the level to watch out for. If it breaks that, then 3600, 3650 these are the next level to watch out for.
Okay, well, moving on. I believe we have a call. We have Sumant who's calling us from Hyderabad. Good afternoon, Sumant. Thanks for calling in. Tell us, what would you like to know from our experts?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I wanted to know about at least a couple of high dividend paying stock options, and also your view on Nalco as a dividend paying stock to hold for long term.
Okay, Vikas, can we take this question to you? Firstly, if you could tell us a little more about high dividend paying stocks which ones appeal to you the most, and also of your view on Nalco again as a dividend play? How are you going? How would you go about this?
Now, as far as dividend-paying stocks are concerned, the major stocks where there is a good dividend yield would comprise stocks from the public sector space. We've seen very good dividends coming out of Coal India, NTPC, Nalco, and stocks like them. So, if one has a view on the market and one wants to invest in high dividend paying stocks, then I think one should concentrate on public sector undertakings where they declare huge dividends, because the government is all out there to extract hefty dividends from these companies. So that is one thing. And as far as Nalco is concerned, it recently declared good dividend. But as far as the fundamentals are concerned, I think at the current levels, the stock can be certainly held on to. I am bullish on the metal space from here on. I feel they are trading at beaten down levels, and they could see substantial upside in the coming quarters, coming months. Once the US-China trade tariff gets over, or trade war gets over, I think we could see some positive announcements on that front, and that would lead to a good upside in most of these metal stocks. So Nalco would be a good bet at the current levels.
Okay, we've got a question on Facebook from Raveen Pai. I don't really understand what he means by medium term, Vikas, but he says that he has a medium term outlook. He's talking about Yes Bank and TCS, and he's wondering whether these are two counters that will see good traction. Yes Bank is up and about in trade, about 5.5% higher today. What's the view on the fundamentals, Vikas?
Yeah, as far as Yes Bank is concerned, most of the problems which the company was grappling with, they seem to have been resolved. There were issues relating to their NPA divergence, where they got a clean sheet from RBI, and then there were issues regarding change in management, and that also has been taken care of. And ever since then, we have seen a good run up in the stock. Today also the stock is up about 5 to 6%. And although the market is also supporting it, but I feel from the current levels, the stock can certainly move higher. I have a target of around 350 rupees on the stock in a year's time. So if the investor wants to invest in the stock, he can certainly buy some at the current levels and wait for the stock to correct a bit, since it has already gone up pretty smartly over the last few days. So there could be some correction which would give a very good opportunity for long-term investors to buy into the stock.
Okay, TCS, would you recommend a buy at these levels?
Again, TCS also is a great company. It has created humongous wealth for long-term investors. So if one has a long-term point of view, I think TCS can be bought at the current level also. But the entire IT sector is right now not doing as well as the other markets. So I think we could see some correction. So it would be prudent to buy into TCS in a staggered manner and for a long-term perspective. So I would recommend an investment in TCS, but then the buying should be in a staggered manner, because I feel there could be some more correction looking at the way the rupee has strengthened in the past few days, and looking at the underperformance being witnessed in the sector.
Okay, well, with that, we move on to a short-term query on JK Lakshmi Cement. We have a question from Balakrishnan on Facebook, and he wants to know what's the short-term view here. It's currently trading at 345, advancing by 1.3%. I'm looking at its chart, and it's seen a little bit of a rise of late in the month of March as well. It's been around a gradual up move, as a matter of fact, from around the levels of, well, I would say 270 odd levels. Samit, how are you viewing trade on this one, and what is your short-term view here?
See, Agam, as you rightly pointed out, the stock has given a gradual up move in last 4 to 5 weeks. If we look at the overall weekly chart, it appears the stock has formed strong base around 280, 300, and it's on the way up now. Looking at the structure and the volume activity that has happened in last 2 to 3 weeks, it appears that the stock is gearing up for a strong move. At least in the near term, we could see levels of 375, 380. So one should trade with a positive bias. If is already holding this particular counter, keep holding it. One can now keep a trailing stop loss somewhere around 328, which seems to be very strong support now.
Okay, we've got another caller. We've got Amog Kedia, who's joining us from Hyderabad. Hi Amog, thanks so much for calling us. What would you like to know?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me. So basically, I've invested over 2 lakhs in Jindal Hisar in 2018. So basically, I want to know why is there such a stark decline in stainless steel share prices, and there's a very negative outlook on stainless steel in the market right now. So even though earnings have declined, the share prices have declined much more starkly than earnings have declined. I wanted to know about that.
Okay, fair question. Vikas, we've got Amog, who's invested in Jindal Stainless Hisar, and his level of acquisition is, if I'm not mistaken, around 180 or thereabouts. The stock is currently just around that 90 level, and the question is a fair one. Seemingly, the decline in the share price is not commensurate, according to the investor, with the earnings that have been showcased by the company.
Yeah, as far as this company is concerned, unfortunately, the investor has bought it at a very high price and it's sitting on substantial loss. I feel most of the metal stocks have corrected sharply, have crashed actually over the last 1 or 2 years in line with the melting down in prices of metals in international markets. But I feel from here on we could see an upside, as I was talking earlier also. But then my advice to the investor would be to book losses in this stock and switch to a better quality name from the metal space. I think one would be advised to buy into a JSW Steel or a Hindalco or a Vedanta at the current levels. I think he should do that, and that would give him a better chance of recovering his losses and getting into profits if he has a long-term point of view.
Okay, we're going to stick with the metal pack, and we're going to address Tata Sponge, but this time from a short-term basis, because we have a question from Deepa, if I'm not mistaken. And Deepa Suri wants to know what can be done with Tata Sponge iron in the near term. It's currently at 738. Samit, how would you help Deepa with Tata Sponge? What levels would you watch out for?
See, there's no participation, on the volume side, and it is clearly getting reflected in prices as well. Stock has been consolidating of late, and there has been no major change. So on the higher side now, 770 remains to be a steady wall. As long as it remains below that, we expect this consolidation to continue. So in case if this stock has to trigger any kind of strength, it has to first surpass 770, and along with rising volumes. If that happens, then this stock can head towards 830, 840. But as of now, I don't see those signs. So one should rather wait for a breakout to happen.
All right, let's pull up IDFC First Bank, recent favorite among a lot of viewers that have tuned into this show, at least 53.90. It hasn't moved substantially in the very near term, but it has shot up in the recent past. The acquisition price for Shalom Ranga was 49.4, and what he wants to know, Vikas, is from you on the fundamentals. Will it turn into another HDFC Bank, and should he hold on therefore for the next 10 years or so?
It's very difficult to predict whether it will turn into an HDFC Bank, but then I like the stock. Fundamentals are pretty good, and ever since the bank merged with Capital First and Mr. V. Vaidyanathan took charge of this bank, I think the kind of track record which he has, it certainly can do pretty well over the next few years. So I'm pretty bullish on the stock. It could certainly turn out to be a multi-bagger, but whether an HDFC Bank or not, that is something which one cannot predict as of now. But then the fundamentals are good, the asset quality is good, and with the kind of aggressive management which it has, I think this stock is certainly going to do well. So I would recommend a hold on the stock, and I would actually recommend buy if the stock corrects a bit. I would say around levels of 50 rupees, the stock looks pretty good for buying point of view from a long-term point of view.
Okay, from there we move on and take a look at Jain Irrigation. We have Vijay Kumar who wants a short-term view on Jain Irrigation. It's also a futures and options counter. It's currently at around 57.3. Well, we have Vijay Kumar who needs a technical view here. So, Samit, how would you help Vijay with Jain Irrigation?
See, since last January, this stock has done nothing. It has been laggard. It has already corrected substantially in last 13 to 14 months. And as of now, I don't see any strength on charts as well. So at least in the near term, 64, 65, these are the levels to watch out for. Unless this stock surpasses this level, this underperformance is likely to continue. So On the higher side, 64, 65 remains to be very strong resistance, and low side 50, 52 seems to be very strong support zone.
All right, we've got another caller. Ayush Gupta is calling us from New Delhi. Hi, Ayush, thanks so much for calling in. What do you want to know about today?
Hello, Alex. I wanted a fundamental view of the renewable energy space. Is there any company listed that has good fundamentals?
Okay, but why the renewable energy space, Ayush?
Because by the statistics that I know, the space is growing in 20, you can say 20 odd percentage. So I want to be a part of that growth story.
Okay, fair enough. Vikas, we've got a question from a sectoral point of view from Ayush. He's saying that he's seen reports, or he's learnt of the sector growing substantially. He's asking for any investment opportunities in the renewable energy space. Do you see any?
No, Alex, as far as renewable energy space is concerned, I do not think there are many good companies in the listed space. Most of the companies which are listed, the few names which come to my mind at the current time is Suzlon or an Inox Wind, but then they've not created any wealth for investors. In fact, they've led to huge losses for investors. So I would actually recommend investor to stay away from the sector right now, because I do not see any good listed stock which could be worth investing at the current levels. And I think he would be advised to look for opportunities in other sector where we suddenly see a lot of things happening, and where we could get substantial returns from the current levels in the long term.
Okay, Ayush, I hope that helps you with your sectoral question, but I believe you have another specific question with respect to Arvind Fashion, if I'm not mistaken. What is it?
Can you provide a technical view on this? I want to make a fresh entry into that stock.
Okay, well, Arvind Fashion, of course, has been recently listed, so I'm not certain we have as much data. But Samit, with whatever we've got, how would you address Arvind Fashion, and what would you tell Ayush?
No, Alex, it would be very difficult to comment on this stock. I hardly have any data for this particular counter.
Okay, well, Vikas, do you want to come in on Arvind Fashion, perhaps help Ayush out with this one?
Yeah, it's a good quality company, recent listing, carved out of the Arvind stock. But then I think after the recent run up, the valuations do not look cheap. So I would recommend at best hold on the stock. No fresh buying would be recommended in the stock at the current levels.
Okay, we've got a counter here. Let's pull up TMC Specialty Hospitals if we can. From what I can see on the Bloomberg, it's trading around just about 16 rupees. Largely unchanged, very small volumes. We've got a question from Satya Subhash, which is why I'm picking it up. He's asking whether he should make a fresh entry into this counter for the next 6 months. Samit, based on the data available, which is not much, would you be able to give him any advice? If not, why don't you suggest another counter that he can look at?
See, yes, generally we don't track this counter considering its inconsistent volume. In case if you wants to trade into this particular counter only, then 18.5 is the level to watch out for. Wait for a breakout to happen. If this stock manages to surpass this level, then we could see at least a near-term bump towards say 23.24, bump up toward 23.24, and on the lower side 15 would act as a very strong support. But apart from this, if you want to get into any individual mid-cap counters, MGL is the one stock that we are liking, not only with a near-term view, but with a medium-term view as well. So MGL trading around 1,995 mark looks quite good, and from here on, we would expect at least another 8 to 10% move. So 1080 is our near-term target. You can look to go long in this counter, keep a stop loss around 968.
All right, well, the target on MGL is currently at 1080 according to Samit, and that is his recommendation. Also positive on a slightly longer time frame. But we've run out of time on the show, so I'm going to take a moment to thank both our experts, Samit and Vikas, for helping our viewers with all their queries. That is all that we have on this edition of Ask BQ.
Do remember, we're just a tweet post to call away, so just keep your queries coming. We promise to address as many of them as possible on our shows. Well, if you missed any of the answers that our guests gave you, you can always log on to the website bloombergquint.com, or you can go to one of our social media pages and have a look at the episode and get the answer. Do stay tuned. Up next is Power Lunch.